I was, and my other song, Took My Soul.
Took My Soul.
Took My Soul. No, that's the first one I listened to. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, because when I first heard it, I wasn't even trying to hear the other two songs because I thought that song was the bomb. I listened to that a few times. And I was so impressed. And I was so like proud. I was so proud that you're able to reach down and find. Tell us about Took My Soul.
Well, Took My Soul is it's a love song on the one hand, but it takes a little bit of a different twist because it really talks about what happens a lot of times with relationships. You know, you're in a relationship with a significant other and everything is, you know, going well, and one of the other partner gets to a point where she thinks that she's going to be heartbroken because this is too good to be true. Something is about to go down. This cannot be what I'm feeling right now.
Wow.
So I'm gonna step out before he does this to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave. But it's real to him. So the fact that she steps out, that's his soul. Took his soul. So
I love it.
But
oh yeah. There I was, standing tall, with no sense I was about to fall from my perch up so high. I could see the rainbow in the sky. All of a sudden it all came crashing down, and I'm left to ask why. I thought our love invincible. The things you did nonsensical. How can I prove my love for you? So what am I supposed to do? Took my soul. Why did you leave? Everybody knows that our love could be one in a million. Amazing to see. A wonderful, a beautiful love tapestry. My love did this day. The day you left, I was riding high, but you walked out without the words goodbye. You told your mama and your daddy too. You thought that our love was too good to be true, and you've been hurt some in the past, and so you thought that our love wouldn't last, and you've been crying time and again about bringing our love to an end. I thought our love.
How do you feel? I mean, what does it feel like when you hear a song that you wrote? I mean, you wrote it yourself, and you hear it playing, and you see people all around in the room bobbing their heads and popping their fingers, and knowing that you know what I got? Part of what I got was that old school hand dance type feel. That's hot today. Everybody's hand dancing. Everybody's hand dancing.
that's the target.
Okay.
That's the target audience. Yeah.
All right. So how do you feel when you hear it?
I have to say that this song has really evolved, and I certainly can't sit here and take total credit for this song, because I called my guitar player one evening and I gave him the melody. I said, hey, this is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
And he said, oh, okay, all right. He said, yeah, I like that. He calls me like, I don't know, it might have been 11:30, 12 o'clock, midnight or something like that. And he said, look, tell me if this works with what with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it worked.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so I certainly, musically, he was able to bring to life, what I heard.
Yeah, what you heard.
Yes.
I get it.
So, at some point, I even still have the recording.
That's awesome.
of the call, So the song has evolved,
Right.
from how it was in its early inception to what you hear right now.
Okay, let's take a listen.
Was invincible. Things you did nonsensical. I cannot prove my love for you. What am I supposed to do? Since you took my soul. Ooh, everybody knows that I love to be one in a million. Amazing to see a wonderful, a beautiful love tapestry. You took my soul. You took my soul. Everybody knows that our love could be one in a million. Amazing to see a wonderful, a beautiful love tapestry. Since you left me, my life's been on hold. How could you be so cold? Don't you remember when we were as one? We vowed we'd be together through any kind of weather. I know you love me and still thinking of me, 'cause our love was incredible. Won't you come on back? Our love's still intact. Why won't you do that for me? To my soul. Ooh, everybody knows that our love could be one in a million. Amazing to see a wonderful, a beautiful love tapestry. You took my soul. You took my soul. Everybody knows that our love could be a one in a million. Amazing to see a wonderful, a beautiful love tapestry. You took my soul. You took my soul. Everybody knows that our love could be amazing, amazing to see. Took my soul. You've been crying time, again, baby, time. Don't you love me? Still thinking of me, and I know. Everybody know, oh yeah. Took my soul. Everybody knows that love could be one in a million.
And do you realize how many people will be able to identify with that by itself? I'm sitting up here thinking about me. I done had my soul, but I mean, whatever. That's how we do it. Okay, so here's something else I want to know about. There are a lot of artists that have written songs, and people redo their songs. Have you ever thought about using another artist's song?
Yeah, I've thought about that, and I've heard, people say, well, hey, there are hundreds of hits out there. Why waste your time trying to come up with a song? Just do somebody else's song and put your own spin on it. And there's a lot that can be said for that, because if something is a hit, oftentimes it'll actually sell again.
Okay.
I think about redoing Spanish Harlem, an old standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because for some in the community, maybe that's not, some folks would not even heard of it.
Right.
Certainly, maybe some folks in the millennial or, Gen X, Gen Y, maybe that's a little, too old for them, but it's a standard.
Absolutely,
and
it is.
And a lot of times it's a good practice to try to put your own spin on something that's an old standard.
What would you tell Ted Carpenter back in the day?
Well, I think I would tell a young Ted Carpenter to um, try to not listen to the voices, the negative voices, that are in your head. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of, being positive, and being able to give something. Um, the self doubt is a killer,
Okay.
and a lot of times sometimes if you don't get the support, for example, from your family, because your family, sometimes your family can do a job when, oh boy, go get out of here with all that, making all that noise and yada yada. You ain't gonna never do so and so and so and so. And when you hear those kind of messages, you, even if subconsciously, you drink a lot of that stuff in, and so it sometimes will make you not even recognize the gifts that you really do have. So I would say that if I could say something to a young Ted Carpenter, would be to try to stay positive and not listen to the negative programming that we do, all of us do, on some level or another.
I wake up in the morning fresh and new. There's a special feeling